Welcome to another episode of the Everyday Game Changers podcast. I am your host, Barry McQueen, and today's episode is no different because we're talking about people that's changing the game, and this is changing the game on a level that I don't think you guys are ready for. I'm excited. I have a special guest, Mr. Tom Paladino. How are you?
I am well. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Give us a little, I would say maybe a short bio or a little background about you, where you from.
Sure. I'm going to speak today about what is known as scalar energy or zero-point energy. I'm a researcher, and I've developed instruments that control that dimension, scalar energy. And I think the audience will find it very interesting what we're going to speak about.
Oh, man. I'm very interested. Briefly, because you was telling me about these instruments that this is like healing, right? So
yes, it is.
I think this is one thing that people, or maybe I'm just not tuned in, but I don't think people really understand how, let's say, game changing this really is. Not
yes,
just about the podcast, but tell us a little bit about your research.
Okay. So I'm working with scalar energy. It's not electricity. It's a different dimension. And with this energy, you can create a molecule or break apart a molecule.
Okay.
So my instruments are able to create molecules or break them apart. So we create what's beneficial, say a vitamin or a nutrient, and we break apart a virus or a toxin. So these instruments give me control over molecular forms.
Wow.
And with that, it's essentially going to prove to be control over the physical universe. If you can control a molecular bond, you can create what you want and transmute, disassemble what is harmful, what is unwanted. So this will prove to be the consummate control over matter.
So that's interesting. So, I've seen a little bit of the background about really big about the HIV stuff, right? And I want to dive into that, but I want to talk about this climate that we're in now with this COVID stuff, right? So what do you see as far as what you're able to do to combat what we see about this whole COVID thing?
Okay, so let me explain. When I work with people with these instruments, I work with their photograph. This is how the instrument works. I place a photograph of a person inside the instrument. And this is my photograph.
Okay.
And we can send energy through the photograph. The photograph is, if you will, a portal, or the photograph is a connection to their quantum signature. And with that, by sending energy into the photograph, we can break apart viruses. We can identify viruses and break them apart. My photograph would allow me, if I had the herpes virus, to identify that signature of herpes and break it apart, or to identify COVID-19 and break it apart. So I have to make this very clear. I don't work with people. I work with quantum energy or a photographic energy by way of an emailed photograph.
Okay.
This is the new science.
Wow.
And, the proof is in the pudding. What happens? Well, after I work with people over the past 10 years, everybody that I've worked with reports to me that they no longer have herpes. If somebody had HIV, after they send me the photograph, the report, the body of evidence is that they no longer have the HIV virus. So this is a new protocol. It's a new branch of science. I don't believe anybody in the world is doing this. I'm the only one that really can prove the efficacy of these sections because my instrument is unique. My approach is unique. But thus far, the results have been stellar. And that's the key. Are people experiencing benefits? And the answer is yes.
That's so talk to me about how you got into even in this space of figuring this out.
Yeah, that's true. You have to be an avid reader and you have to want to research. If you don't put in the time, you're not going to see the results. So I studied this science. I've been at this for 45, 50 years.
Wow.
And you really, again, just to make this clear, you have to concentrate on this. As a new science, as a new discipline, so to speak, you have to discover many things on your own. There is no university textbook. So my work is groundbreaking. Much of my work, I have been at the forefront of this science for years.
Of course.
So it's something that I choose to do, but you have to be willing to go it alone.
Agree. So what kind of, I guess I wouldn't say in your industry, because this is nothing like we've seen, right? So what's the feedback from, like, I guess I would say other science or other, because nobody's doing what you're doing, right? So it's not like I could say what's one of the biggest misconceptions about your industry, but what's the feedback you're getting about this different approach?
Okay, so the term that you're using is game changer or game breaker. Correct?
Yes, of course.
That's what this is.
Right.
If you've ever want to see a technology that's a game changer, this is it.
Right.
You go nowhere further. In other words, everything we're doing with electricity right now can be replaced with scalar energy at a much more efficient output at pennies on the dollar. It's economically sound. It's financially sound. So this is the new energy. Scalar energy is the new energy, and it's going to bring in a new technology, a new way of living. This is the game changer.
That's dope. So your background, how do you get into this? As a kid, if I'm looking, like, what was you doing as a kid, and how do you transition to this type of, I would say, revolutionary?
Yeah. You have to be blessed by God. Okay. You have to have that ability to understand truth. Right. You have to have that ability to ferret out, to ascertain what is going to work and what will not. And remember, you're on this on your own. There is no college textbook. So you have to spend a great deal of time developing theories and then work on those theories. And that's what I've done. The first 20 years of my life, I was a theoretician. And then I developed instruments, and now I'm putting those theories into practice. And so be it. It's a career. And after some 45, 50 years, I can tell you this works, and that this is a valid science, and that this is the new energy of the future.
So what would you say is the best way we can get this information to, like, what would be your next steps for it?
It's going to be people like you. And I thank you, Barry. I thank you, because if you will, the social climate, the power structure does not want this.
That was going to get to my next, right?
So if this is the game changer that's going to change industries,
right?
If this is the game changer that's going to change the socioeconomic structure of the world, right, it will, then this game changer will not be welcomed by everyone.
And what, so I won't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but when it comes to, like, I watch a lot of movies about how the government moves, and, I see the big pharmaceutical companies, how they're a big thing. So I'm assuming what you have done the work on goes against everything that they don't. So this interview is definitely game changing. They don't want to see this, right?
Let's be blunt. Most of the monopolies in the world are sanctioned and abetted by governments.
Of course.
Why? Because government and big business is in bed. And this is, these are the criminal syndicates that rule the world. Let's just be blunt. And to the detriment of the people. Well, I'm for the people. I'm against corrupt governments. I'm against corrupt corporations. So it's the people that must support this. I don't expect any help from corrupt governments or corrupt corporations.
How does that? I always see, like, every time somebody's really on the cusp of something great, right? Something is just like randomly happens, or you just don't hear about it no more. You just like, does it scare you?
No, for two reasons. I'm protected by God.
Okay.
Jesus Christ and the Blessed Virgin Mary protect me. And the people are aware of this.
Yeah.
This cannot be undermined. This cannot be silenced, because we have podcasters like you that will help to get the word out. No, I will never get an interview by the big networks. networks. The big networks are controlled by the Illuminati. Let's just face it.
This is why I was reading the information and I'm just like, oh my god. We've had some guests, but I'm talking about level of game changing. This is different. So where do you see this? Let's say 5 years from now.
Yeah. 5 years from now, I want to start treating 1 billion people a year by way of their photograph. So the instrument can work with miniaturized photographs. Here's a collage.
Okay.
In 5 years, I want to be able to treat 1 billion people a year. Wow. And then once you reach that threshold, it's unstoppable.
That's dope. So what would you say is it anything that you need that would help speed the process up?
Tell people what I'm doing.
Okay.
Tell people what I'm doing. Look at my website.
Yes.
If you don't believe us, look at all the testimonies. Those testimonies are written and submitted by people. I had no influence over those testimonies.
Right.
If you look at those testimonies, they tell a story. And if you believe that story, then help us.
I like that. So what's your thoughts about this whole COVID thing though? I hear a lot about, is it real? Is it some government stuff? What's your thoughts from an expert?
From what I can tell and from what I've studied, this is obviously a man-made virus.
Okay.
COVID-19 is a man-made virus. It is designed to disrupt the world structure. It is designed to kill, to maim. And the people have to be aware of this. SARS was another coronavirus back in 2001, 2002. And SARS disrupted many of the Asian nations. Now, COVID-19 is disrupting the world. So these viruses are continually being fabricated, engineered. So people, whether you want to realize this or not, this is germ warfare, and we have to stop it.
Man, I'm glad you said that. So this is really good. So what's one of the, how do you get to this stage where you of course you've got the years of experience and all of that, but did you always see this for yourself, or as a kid was you I want to be a firefighter, or you know what I mean? No. You always saw this.
I always wanted to invent, and I said to myself at a young age, the fact that I could pick this up so easily, it's almost effortless to me.
Wow.
That's a gift from God. So, some people are natural. I'm a naturalist. This is easy.
What's some other things other than this have you been involved in as far as inventions and things like that?
I want to go on to producing energy instruments that we can deliver energy, wireless transmission of scalar energy, and power our homes. It will be inexpensive. It's energy from the stars, and we won't need substations or transformers or wires or conduit. So the future is scalar energy. It's the free or relatively inexpensive energy of the future.
So clearly you have some faith-based things. How do you get to that space of, the belief?
Varian, this is my destiny.
Yes.
Okay. You can quote me. This is my destiny.
Nice.
And when God is behind this, nothing stands in the way. This is our destiny. This will happen in time.
I love that. Yeah. The reason I asked that is because as a kid, my mom was very young and instilling some of those principles and very structured in religion and faith-based. And I don't find that until I find it on my own as I get older, right? So I'm always awed by the people who just got it right away. But like you said, it's in you. It's in some people, right?
It's so different. Yeah. Once you have that supernatural grace, once you have God's hand upon you, it's a fait accompli.
Wow. So, as being a journalist, doing my due diligence, this is definitely something. So, what I want to ask you: how can people get involved in what you got going on, as far as either patients or supporters?
Yeah, thank you. So I think the best thing we've ever done, we give away 15 days of free sessions. Now, remember, you're going to email us your photograph. We only work through the photographic dimension. So my website is scalarlight.com. You visit the website, anybody in the world can upload their photograph, include your family and your pets, your dogs, your cats, and we'll work with you for 15 days. We'll eradicate the microbes, we'll balance your brain waves, we will create nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. And we do that for 15 days. And after 15 days, you're probably going to feel better. And then you prove it to yourself that this works.
Wow.
Okay. So we prove it by getting people to sign up for the free sessions.
So, and are you on social media? Where can everybody find you on social media? I want to definitely put your links and things.
Yeah. The best thing would be Tom Paladino Scalar Light. That's
okay. Perfect. That's good. So is it any like lasting words that you can provide to our listeners about everything you've discovered over a period of, what do you say, 20, 40 years, you said, right?
If scalar energies is the intelligence, the mind of God, this incredible energy, and we can tap into that, then this will change society. So I ask everybody to think about this, pray upon it. And if this resonates with you, join our movement. All it takes is a photograph to eradicate, say, HIV. I just received a month ago test reports from Tanzania. Everybody we work with in Tanzania no longer is HIV positive.
Wow.
Now, I've never been to Tanzania. I simply received photographs from people around the world, and we're able to improve their, what I call, quantum health.
That's dope. So I want to definitely stay in touch with you. We're going to drop this episode. And this, to all my viewers, this episode is when I say no different, because this is definitely game changing. We definitely want to follow this. And I want to follow up with you on the progress and any stats of some new stuff or some groundbreaking stuff that you have. We'll definitely stay in touch. So thank you, Tom.
Thank you
for gracing us with your presence. You tuned into another episode of the Everyday Game Changers, and today's episode was definitely no different, definitely groundbreaking, and definitely, and we're going to get this up as soon as possible because I know how the government works, right? So we need to get this to as many people. Tom, thank you again, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Thank you, Barry.
All right.